Hello everyone and welcome to Gregtech New Horizons. And you may notice here that we have a blast furnace behind us, which has also just finished producing the first steel ingot for us. Was that not a quest? Oh, it wants 8. But this is not where today's story begins. We are currently on 43 hours playtime. However, today begins at 29 hours playtime in the rain, and we're going to start just by collecting some wool, which we're going to use with the tanned leather we put together last episode to make a sleeping bag. The first quest of the day. Hopefully many more to follow. I say that, but with any luck you guys have already seen the start of this episode. If not, then I've failed somewhere. And you know what, actually the quest for the backpack mentions we should also make a digger's backpack, which can hold things like cobblestone and dirt when we're mining. I think we only need one more piece of woven cotton, and we should be able to craft 2 of these things, yeah. Anyways, the first mission for today is visual prospecting. So what we are looking for is a redstone vein. You may remember we failed to find it last episode, and there is a way eventually to automatically visually prospect to detect the ores around you. That could have been so much worse. Okay, that's enough running around. It's time to find some redstone. Mica would also be awesome to find as well. And so the grind begins, the start of another productive resource collection session. We came across many different useful materials underneath our base, including things like magnetite, salts, spessartine, iron and gold. I was thinking maybe we should have got the ore finder wand, but actually it was good to map out our surroundings, as we found a second lapis vein which we're going to need in large quantities today for the blast furnace. The sporadic amount of calcite that spawns in between the lapis veins is something that we need for fire bricks. So I started to mine out the calcite vein, but then I had a realization. You know how I always say you have to be inefficient to be efficient? Well, this is not one of those cases. It was going to be extremely inefficient for us to mine this lapis vein without finding redstone first. So I switched our priorities actually and dug my way out of the lapis vein. Just a few chunks over at around Y40, we came across a small redstone and I knew that was it. We had found the redstone vein, finally. Just next to the lapis, in fact. After we had just a few stacks, I made our way back to the base where we had to actually process the redstone ore. Since we don't have the appropriate machinery, the only way for us to do that right now is to place it, break it with the Gregtech hammer. From there we get crushed, which we can turn into impure piles, crafting it with the hammer again. We can wash the impure dust in the cauldron, and this gives us the clean redstone. And using all this redstone, we were able to add haste to our pickaxe, a very long awaited upgrade. While I was back at the base, I also added in some barrels for storage. Process down the rest of the redstone dust, and put that inside the alloy smelter for red alloy ingots. Once that was processing, I headed out for our last session of mining. Even though this is so much better than what we had before, mining the amount of calcite we need is still going to take some time. I mean, look how sporadic it is. The fact that there's 2 next to each other here is pretty rare, but oh, there's 3. Yeah, I mean, like, look at all of these ores and none of them are calcite. Also, I hope I got all of this area secured. I'm pretty sure I managed to light everything up here. The requirement for at least 72 calcite per blast furnace, and we need multiple blast furnaces, meant that I was down there mining for a very long time. And so here we are at the copper vein. I believe we have enough calcite for us to proceed today and get at least 1 blast furnace, maybe 2 with the calcite. We'll see, but we still have a bit of mining left to do. We need to pick up some more copper here, as I realise we're going to need a lot of bronze. And bronze is, of course, copper and tin. Actually, come to think about it, I'm not sure what our tin situation is. Oh my goodness, there's so much mining in the early game here. But you know, there is actually a balance to strike here. And at this point in the episode, I'm actually going to move the goalposts back. Our goal is no longer just to get the blast furnace, I would also like to get the Tinker's Hammer, which of course will do a full 3x3, and that just more than doubles the rate at which we can pick up resources. For us to do that though, we do need alumite, and that requires steel. I should really stop by now. This is enough. It's not efficient to do this, but I can't leave ores like this. No, actually we'll stop right here. We have enough things to do. We have enough resources, I believe. That's famous last words though. Yeah, and these backpacks that we had were a very worthwhile investment here. And what's nice about them is they automatically collect and sort the ores for you. And so this is our current yield of resources. I think we got a few more things in the furnace. We got a handful of crushed ores and some impure piles, of course. For things like the diamond, the copper, chalcopyrite, which is also copper, and magnetite, which is iron, we are just going to simply use our creosote oil here and smelt it through the furnace. The Tinker Smeltery does not ore double in this, and we do not yet have a macerator, which actually is one of our top priorities today. Yeah, so one of the first things I'd like to get today is some hoppers. Oh yeah, that's right. Welcome to New Horizon. Yeah, this is all you can say when you see stuff like this. Well, I'm glad we went mining. It's important that we don't make too many plates this way, 2 to 1, because we're really close to being able to get a forge hammer, which is 3 to 2. We are at least going to pick up 3 more hoppers. And we are going to use these to semi-automate these machines so that we can easily batch craft. How much red alloy have we made actually? Only 5? I guess we ran out of fuel here. And I think it's 14 for the quest, yeah. So let's kind of orient ourselves and try to plan out a progression route. The steel quest is down here, which means we need the multi-block, the blast furnace, which is over here in the multi-block goals tab. To unlock this though, we need the compressing stuff quest. And that is, I believe, this one over here, yeah. So the red alloy quest is gating us a little bit, but we can at least start the next quest, which is to make wire cutters. Let's see if I remember the recipe here, right? It's rods to bolts, and then bolts with the file for screws, yeah. We need to wait before crafting the wire cutters as it's a crafting task, and we need to unlock the red alloy quest first. It appears this machine is stalled again, and it's basically just down to the fact that we don't have enough steam production. So you know what I was thinking, maybe we go with a solar boiler. We need to make some glass, which is a bit later in the quest book. Oh, is this not how we make glass? Dang it. Is it not in the smeltery? Molten glass, right? Oh, it's with glass dust. Okay, how do we get glass dust? I assume that's with the macerator, which we don't have yet. These are all crafting tasks as well, so I don't really want to skip the quest book. We're just going to be patient here. Aha, a very important alloy. And we should also be able to make our wire cutters. I'm going to make 2 pairs. Excellent, this unlocks the quest for the piston. Oh boy, definitely not another regular piston recipe. Carpenter's blocks. Okay, red alloy plates. Also, there is a spider on the roof, and... is that a mother spider? Oh my goodness, that was so much damage. Okay, that was a bit humbling. Alright, anyways, after a ton of crafting, we should be able to get our pistons here. That's 1. Oh, we only need 1 for the quest. And that also unlocks the macerator quest and the compressor quest. It seems that we're getting kinda low on bronze. We're down to our last 25. Let's make a fresh batch. Yeah, around about 45 should be good for now. Our hammer actually just broke, and now that we have diamonds, we can actually make the diamond variant, which has 128,000 durability. Way better than any iron or bronze version. Or wrought iron for that matter, actually. And for the next 2 machines, we're going to need the machine hulls. I think it's with the hammer. Yeah, bronze hulls. And that should allow us to get the compressor. And we also now have diamonds, which we can use here for the macerator. Nice. Which we can also set down on our little temporary steam setup over here. We want to leave a space in between each machine because we need a space for the vent port. I suppose we're also short 2 hoppers here as well. Now that we have the macerator though, we can macerate down some sand. Oh, this boiler is so terrible. It's so awful. We need a solar boiler. Oh, that's right, it also requires double silver plates. Silver we can only get as small ore until we visit the Twilight Forest. However, I was pretty diligent in picking this up, so I think we've got a decent amount here. Yeah, 22. Is that enough actually? Double silver plates is very expensive. Yeah, because of that, maybe we should rush the forge hammer to get the cheaper plate recipe. We are going to need to make an anvil, which calls for 10 blocks of iron. Really? And I think this has to be in the compressor. Yeah, there's no shaped crafting. And you know what? Actually, I just realized there is a way to make glass without this macerator. Oh, the steam again. Yeah, I suppose we do use the manual recipe right now. If we crush flint and we crush sand, we should be able to craft those together into glass dust. And this we can use through the smeltery. Oh, that is not fair. That guy was in the wall. Look at him. Oh, I promise you he came through the wall there. Alright, so we've reduced our carbon emissions and we've went solar. It's tucked away in the corner up there, producing us steam passively. Obviously has to have sky access, and also must be supplied with water through this wooden pipe. If we add cold water to an already heated boiler, then, well, I don't think we want to find out what happens then. But yeah, we also picked up the forge hammer, which we can use to craft plates at a 3:2 ratio. We also have input and output hoppers and chests on each machine. And so with the addition of those 4 machines, the macerator, the alloy smelter, the forge hammer, and the compressor, we should be able to craft the blast furnace. However, nothing is quite that simple in GTNH. We have started the preparations already with the calcite collection. And now that we have the macerator, we can actually toss all our calcite ore in here. Extremely loud machines. Let's turn that off. And 40 seconds per ore. Okay. Yeah, I think it's worth it though, because it does double the ores. It gives us 2 crushed per ore. It does, right? Yes. Calcite though is only the beginning of this process to collect the materials for the blast furnace. I did have to go mining again for more iron. We got that smelting in the furnaces currently. I actually just about jumped out my chair. It must have been the creeper over there, right? Just breathe, we're fine. That's 2 close calls this episode, actually. But yeah, along with the calcite, we also need to gather a decent amount of sand. One really awesome tip with these Tinker's tools is you can actually place torches if they're next to the tool in the hotbar. You can just place with right click since we don't have an offhand here in 1.7. The sand here though is the easy part. I think we're just going to fill a whole backpack since we need it later on for multiple blast furnaces anyway. Might as well gather quite a bit while we're here. It's always generally a good idea to gather more than you need, especially in New Horizons. Plus, who doesn't like gathering sand? I could think of worse ways to spend my evening. Alright, sand acquired. Next material on our list is clay. Where on earth are we going to get clay from? Oh, you know what? Our base is full of clay. Now that we have a macerator, can we actually macerate this down? We can. And it's clay dust that we're after. So what does that leave us with if we check the blast furnace quest? I did go and collect some more iron for the furnaces. The calcite is processing right now, we just gathered some sand. Stone dust, clay dust, and brick dust. Yeah, I have a feeling we're not going to have enough bricks. And the house that we found last episode, well, we borrowed all the bricks from there, so we're going to have to find a second one. I'm pretty sure we've seen one, I just don't know where it is. And I didn't mark it on the map either. There's some evidence of people following us here. I wonder what happened there. Oh yeah, 17 stacks of clay. That's one more thing to go through the macerator. That thing is going to be tied up for quite a while, I think. Also, it may kind of feel like we're rushing the blast furnace, right? Wait a second, is that redstone up there? I think it might be a second redstone vein over here, yeah. It's probably underneath us somewhere. It may seem like we're rushing the blast furnace right now, and that is exactly what I'm doing. You know, in modded Minecraft, often you have those calls to make where sometimes it's a good idea to rush progression, in this case the blast furnace, because the unlock of steel is going to unlock lots and lots of different options and quality of life, mainly this hammer, that's the main thing I want. But sometimes you have to decide, is it worth my time to completely rush this technology, or should we slow down and just have some fun? I think I see that original house that I missed a bed in. I mean, I didn't miss any bed, there's no bed in there. Yeah, it's just a judgment that you have to make, and in this case, I think I've decided that the blast furnace is our best way to go here. Even though there is pressing matters like the food situation, which we definitely have to address here sooner rather than later. Right now, I want to borrow some more bricks. And cake. Yeah, it's so strange that these houses generate without beds. It's weird. It's also worth thinking about where exactly we want these blast furnaces. Obviously we have disabled pollution, so that's not really a factor we have to consider this time around. And I think I've decided that we want to go up this hill, since we want to expand into the valley here, right, eventually. So yeah, I'm going to flatten this out a bit and give us some space to work with. You might be able to hear the macerator right now, it's going crazy. But I believe we're almost ready for this blast furnace. I don't think we missed anything. Turns out I spoke a little bit too soon there. We are actually missing something, 72 gypsum dust. And how, yeah, down here, it's all the way down at the bottom of the quest. And how do we get gypsum? Well, gypsum comes from an ore. I think straight gypsum ore, right? Oh, I've went a bit too far here. Yeah, fortunately, we have found a mineral sands vein, and it's actually right next to the first temporary farm. It should be in this chunk. You guys also mentioned that you can mark the center by hitting F9 again. I didn't think that was the case, but apparently that's in the game. I didn't realize because this also expands it out further into a region and not just the chunks. But yeah, I guess it does mark the center right here. And yeah, this vein contains granitic mineral sand, fuller's earth, and there should be some gypsum mixed in here. I think it's a similar situation with the calcite where it's quite rare. Of course it is, right? There it is, gypsum ore. We need at least 72, although I think similar to the calcite, the macerator should double the ore. But again, we do want multiple blast furnaces, so I'm going to pick up a decent chunk of this. More mining to do. Yeah, so we did manage to dig out a substantial hole here, and fortunately for us, this mineral sand actually smelts into iron. We can always do with some more iron. However, we've only got 22 gypsum out of this whole vein. That obviously is not enough for our needs here, and I think we got pretty much all of it out of this vein. This shoreline is a bit Swiss cheese over here. I think the sand caved in. Oh, I don't know if you guys just seen that creeper there, but yeah, we are obviously going to have to find more gypsum, and I've done enough visual prospecting, so I think it's time for the ore finder wand. We're going to need some magnetic iron rods. We do also need some gold, which we should have somewhere. I think I was smelting some gold in the furnaces. Yeah. What are we missing here? Oh, the sticks. Just sticks. And the quest. So the way that it works is so long as we have at least one piece of ore, in this case we're looking for the mineral sands ore, I think we can actually put in iron ingots and it will also show. Basically anything that corresponds with the ore that you want to find, the vein that you want to find. Is it shift right click? Yeah, this goes inside the ore finder wand, and it's going to make a sound whenever it finds it. It detects it here obviously because this is the vein we just mined out. However, now that this is configured, we should just be able to run around and it's going to alert us whenever there's gypsum nearby. Or mineral sand, I guess, is what we put inside. So, you know, it's still very manual, but it's at least better than having to dig down. Oh, we found it. Just next to the lapis vein. And some more hidden aluminium gravel, which I did not see before. 14 pieces in the one vein, wow. These gypsum veins are normally near the surface as well, so we should run into it. Yeah, here it is right here. Alright, more mining to do. Hopefully we can get enough gypsum from this one. Oh, a cave is not what I want to see here. Oh no, there's a fisherman zombie there. He's invisible as well, you see that? He's got cloaking. Yeah, look at him, trying to fish us in. That is so sneaky. So the encounter with the zombie left us not in a great position in terms of our food supply. I decided to head back to base to refill before doing any mining. I also just double checked the machines to make sure everything was hunky-dory, everything was processing. And yeah, that macerator was tied up for quite a while. It had already finished the brick dust and clay dust though, which we crafted into fire clay dust. That was run through the compressor, which gives us the unfired bricks, and the bricks we can just smelt in the furnace. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording at the time, but yeah. We had our second death this episode. It's best just not to ask too many questions here. Yeah, mistakes were made. However, we did manage to get our things back and I continued to mine out this vein. Hey, wait a minute. Who's this guy? So it's been a couple hours for me. I think we're ready to cash in here and craft this blast furnace, finally. We're just waiting on the last few recipes running here in the machines. We have some wood planks being made from sawdust. And I'm not sure yet if I've shown the recipe for the blast furnace, but we're definitely going to need some help crafting it. And finding what I'm looking for, apparently. Yeah, what we want to craft here is a bookshelf. The books we borrowed from the village. And as the quest book points out here, we can make a work table from forestry. And you know what, I think we actually might have enough for 2 of these things. Ideally we want to get more, but we don't have enough wood processed right now. Oh, are we short some screws? I think we're short 2 iron screws. Not to worry though, we have plenty of iron here. And I think the fire bricks have just finished smelting also. Yeah, we got tons and tons of it in these furnaces here. And there's our 2 forestry work tables. Alright, is this done yet? I think so. The crushed, by the way, we can put into the forge hammer. It saves us crafting manually with the hammer and the crafting table. And from this we get the impure, and the impure of course we just wash in the cauldron. I've started a bit of a project chest here. I think we're almost there. Let me gather the rest of the materials we need. So I actually just accidentally put the iron plate on the side of the machine, which I think is a useful tool if you don't want anything connecting, and it's dead apparently. Oh yeah, you can turn off machines with a soft mallet. That disables the recipe that it's currently running. Are we still producing in the boiler? Yeah, 120 litres per second is right. One other thing to mention about this is there is calcification over time. I don't know the exact time it takes, but eventually that thing has a chance to have its output. And the only solution with those boilers, the simple ones, is to break and replace them. So every now and then we do have to perform some basic maintenance. And speaking of maintenance, we're going to make a crowbar. which I think is a quest. And the crowbar should allow us to remove covers from the side of machines. Yeah. So these forestry work tables can actually save the recipe that you're doing. And in this case, we need to use water buckets inside the recipe. So these slots down the bottom here is what the table is going to pull from to craft the recipe that you specify. In this case, we want to craft fire bricks. But we're first going to have to make buckets of concrete. And this is where everything comes in. So we've got the stone dust, the clay dust, the quartz sand, the calcite, water bucket, and an empty bucket should give us concrete. Oh, I didn't bring clay dust. I left that in the machine down here, I think. Also, I noticed occasionally in this pack that you get random buffs after sleeping. I don't think that used to be in the game before. Oh yeah, and we're also going to be short some buckets, some empty buckets. So yeah, one by one we can craft our buckets of concrete. All we have to do is replenish the water buckets inside. That is so nice, that's awesome. And then I think it's right click to lock the recipe in place. Then we can encode the recipe for the fire bricks and drop in the buckets of concrete in the input slots and then craft the fire bricks. And then basically just repeat this process until we have the quest. And just to double check, these are all optional tasks, right? Yes, I don't think that was the case before, and I remember having to gather this twice for the quest. But I think we're going to get it as long as we're able to get 36 fire bricks, I think. That's 32. And yeah, guys, do not try to do this without this work table. It'd be impossible. I'm doing this 4 at a time. Yeah, it's so awesome being able to just shift click all this stuff. There's 36. And is it 4 more for the bricked blast furnace, plus the iron furnaces? There we have it, the bricked blast furnace. And sleep. You slept well and now feel much better. Yes, I do. Certainly do after getting this thing. The quest book gives us a choice reward between some ore berries. I think we're going to take gold. We also get some coal coke and 2 steam age loot bags. Bunch of saplings. Actually, this was nice. I kind of lost the spruce sapling we had. It didn't drop from the tree that grew, so I'm kind of glad we actually got that. And we actually have 4 more steam age loot bags. Spawn squid. A void chest. I didn't know this existed. Some food, I'll happily take the food. A spawn wolf. Not bad. Alright, so I managed to clear a bit of the space earlier on, and I think this is 3x4x3 with nothing on the top middle block. And then controller goes front and center here. Maybe? Yes, it just took a while to form. We've got our bricked blast furnace, which we can put in coal coke or any burnable fuel I think works. And some iron. And sometime in the next decade it's going to spit out a steel ingot for us. Normally, these things do produce a lot of pollution, but we have it turned off. I've taken enough poison from that thing. I've inhaled enough fumes from that thing in the last playthrough, so we're not going to do that again. Hello everyone, and welcome to Gregtech New Horizons. And you may notice here that we have a blast furnace behind us, which has also just finished producing the first steel ingot for us. Great success, I would say mission accomplished. However, at some point during this episode, we also moved the goalposts back, and we also want to get our Tinker's Hammer. That's really the main thing that I'm after out of all of the steel. So to do that, we do need to first unlock this quest, which is for the 8 steel ingots. And in the meantime, we can start to make our casts. So for this, we need a large plate and a hammerhead. And I think it's also the tough rod and the tough tool binding as well. We can cast these out into molds using aluminium brass. Yeah, I guess to check, we're also going to need something called the tool forge. 4 blocks of iron, which I did make ahead of time over here. And the macerator's still going crazy over there. We are also going to need a spare tool station. Oh, I guess we have to cut it one more time into the half slab. This version. The hammer we should have, we need a seared stone slab. And that just leaves us with 2 large alumite plates. Alright, how much steel do we have by now? Almost 4. It's not actually that fast. I was editing the footage there. This thing, there we go, there's 5. I do want to get the quest though. But we also need to use this. You know what? We'll wait. And almost as if by magic, we should not have enough steel yet. It's only 7. Come on, blast furnace, you can do it. It's so close. Aha, the first of many steel ingots, which we're going to melt in the smeltery. This is a major pain point in the early game of GTNH. But that's kind of the rewarding thing about GTNH. The more you scale your infrastructure, the less you have to wait on processes that you had to wait on before. So of course, that's not the only way to make steel ingots. With the first 1 steel ingot, I'm going to melt the rest actually. With the first 1, we're going to cast it out into a pickaxe. And we should be able to swap the tool part on our pickaxe head. Oh no, wait a second. That's right, it also does lose a mining level. Oh dang it. Okay, let me explain the predicament we're in here. So to get alumite, as we mentioned earlier on, we do need obsidian, right? The aluminium we should be able to get from aluminium gravel and the steel we already have. The obsidian though, there's no other way to get this other than finding it or mining it, and we don't have enough mining level yet on the bronze. And if we upgrade to steel, it's going to reduce it by 1, and we have to mine like 3,000 blocks to upgrade again. In case you were curious though, the default way to upgrade mining level in Tinker's Construct is disabled here in GTNH. So I did just go ahead and upgrade it to steel, and we have something like 500 blocks to mine. Is that right, or is it 3,000? No, it must be the mining XP, right? So we're 32% of the way there. Let's try to be productive with this mining session. I think I'm gonna mine the redstone. Yeah, either that or iron, but we did just pick up a decent amount of iron, and we do need redstone for the circuits coming up here at the end of the chapter. So yeah, unfortunately, no hammer this episode. We are imprisoned once again down in the mines. Oh boy, here we go again. I think this is also a good point to wrap up this episode. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next episode of Gregtech New Horizons. Okay, back to digging. Back to digging.